Hello everyone and welcome to another rendition of Zenfolio Live. My name is Kayla and I am a part of the customer support team at Zenfolio alongside Robert, who does these live streams as well. But today you've got me. So today we are going to be going over some tips and tricks you can use throughout your account. And these are just things that may not be obvious in your account, like just little things you can even do in your browser, for example. So they're little workarounds to make your life a little bit easier when navigating the site. So I'm really excited to share some of my favorite ones here today. Before we get started though, be sure to throw out in the comments where you're from, and if you're new, we definitely want to give you a shout out on the live stream today because we love hearing from you guys here. We did have a very busy stream last week, so hopefully it's not quite as busy today, but we will see. So if you have any questions related to tips and tricks or anything else really too, just go ahead and throw those out and we'll get to those after the tips and tricks part of the live stream today. So without further ado, let's get started. One thing that I used to struggle with was not being able to search through galleries in the back end of my account. So like I would go to the photos section and I might have put something in the wrong place, or I, of course, in my own personal account have like a ton of client galleries that I have to search through every single time. And sometimes it just gets a little bit difficult. So in general, having your gallery super organized can help with this, but in some circumstances I know I have been at the point where a search feature would just be very helpful. So what I do is go into the photos section of my account. You'll see I just clicked on the word photos and was taken here. Let me get my big head out of the way, you guys. Okay, so what I will do from here is actually click Command F, and you'll see this little box popped up. Just so you know, if you're on a PC, it will be Control and then F, so just a heads up there. But on a Mac, it is Command and then F. And you do have to hold that Command key while you click F. So this is the find area in your browser, and once it is open you can type in a part of the name of a gallery and it will highlight any area on the page that has the term in it. So what I can do is just open up that client galleries area. Of course I only have 3 here in my test account, but you know, hopefully you would have more than this. Let's say that I was looking for Valerie and family. So if I type Valerie up in this box, you'll see that it highlights her name down here so I can more easily find it. Another use for this is locating your raw files in your account. So I know I've been in this situation before where I've totally forgotten that I uploaded raw files at the beginning of the month and I no longer need them. I get that email about being charged for it and I need to find where those raw files are. So in general, I just go and delete them after I no longer need them, but again, locating them can be a little bit difficult. So again, I would just open up every single gallery I have in that case just to make sure. Of course, I can see them quickly here, but just in case I missed it, I would just type raw and it will open up that raw files area. So just another use for that. I know a lot of you store raw files on here as well. And let's see. This feature can also be used in other areas of your account. So if you wanted to find a customer's order super quickly, but you don't have the order number anymore, we could go to the selling portion, go to reports and payouts, and then sales report. And on the orders tab, I don't have any, I don't think, on this account, but you would probably have a pretty big list. You could narrow it down to a specific like month or day even, but if even that's lost on you, that Command F feature will come in handy, and you can just type the name of the customer and generally that will do the trick. So just so you know, that little browser tool can be super helpful in many situations across many pages in your account. Definitely something that I use a lot, even in my support role here. So next up is one of my favorite Zenfolio features. It is triggered emails. So triggered emails, I myself use them. I used to have to like write out a ton of emails to customers all the time before getting my own Zenfolio account. So this feature can save you a ton of time in general, but I also have a tip for you too. So let's go into the communications area and you'll want to go to email communications. If it wants to load, there we go. So we would go to the triggered emails tab here. So you'll see that there is a visitor sign-in triggered email that can be sent out. And I do use this visitor sign-in feature on all of my client galleries so that when someone signs in, I can gather their information and have it put into my contact list in Zenfolio. If I can get Cheryl to send out a link to that visitor sign-in help guide article, that would be super awesome, just for those of you who aren't familiar with it. But in short, it does require a site visitor to type in some information like their name and email address before continuing. So I'll have that set up on all the galleries and then use that feature and the triggered email feature in conjunction together. And that way, instead of getting an email that someone signed into the gallery and having to draft up an email to send to them, it can just happen automatically. So this is where the trick comes in though. I will also include a discount code on this page. So I allow all my customers to use a 10% off discount code, and I have that code available at all times on all products on my site so that they can get 10% off no matter what. So whenever that triggered email goes out, I will include the 10% coupon in that so they can use it. It's already factored into my prices, so they will just be able to use it, and it kind of encourages them to order a little bit more quickly, I think, just because they'll feel like it's expiring soon, even if you haven't said anything about that. So I think everyone is motivated to order when they have a discount code. And I found this super helpful in my own business. So whenever you want to use this feature, just a reminder with triggered emails, you would need to set up a template. And what I usually do in my own account is just make a 10% off welcome. I'll just put something in the subject about the code. Hi, thank you, all that good stuff. And I just have that available in my custom templates. There it goes. Running a little slow today. So I'll go back to the triggered emails area, and I will click edit, select that template. Well, oh my gosh, it really hates me today, guys. There we go. So I'll select the template for the 10% off welcome and just send it 0 days after the person signs in so that they get it immediately. Most people, when an email comes in when they're on their computer, it will just kind of ding at them. So most people will see that discount code before they ever start to order. I have had some people reach out to me afterwards and just say, hey, this coupon code, I saw it, I didn't get to use it. What can I do? I do have the order approval feature turned on all of my price lists, so I do wait at least a day before approving that order, a couple hours, just to make sure. And sometimes I'll even just throw it on there just to be nice. So, and it will refund them the 10%. Can be super cool. So, next up is something I thank my lucky stars for every single day that I work for Zenfolio. Zenfolio offers support guide articles that you can send to your clients. And these cover a pretty large range of topics. So I know there's one on like your favorites, how to use them as a client, how to build a photo book, things like that. So let me show you where to find those. That's going to be down at the very bottom of any screen in your dashboard. You can go to the support center. And it's going to think about it a second. Let's see. Well, when that loads, you'll want to search for visitors. And these are sorted by relevancy, so it's going to find the ones about like visitor sign-in and visitor tracking first. But if you look, there are a bit there, just a little farther down, with articles that end with a dash that says for visitors. So if this ever wants to load for me, we can take a look at it. Oh, goodness. Yay, there we go. So I would just type in for visitors. And you'll see a couple of them will actually just pop up here at the very top, even a couple at the bottom. But we can search, and again, you'll see those ones at the top. But if you scroll down, you should see more and more of them, and all of them should pop up there. So that can be super, super helpful when you're trying to just pass along some information to a client quickly, and just, I know many of us are just way too busy to have to explain to an individual customer every single time something goes crazy in the shopping cart. So honestly too, I have copy and pasted information even from regular support guide articles and sent those to my clients when I didn't have time to explain a feature thoroughly. So when it's already done for you, you know, why not grab those resources, right? So yeah, I would just kind of check some of these out, see if there's something that can relate to your customer's issue, and maybe help walk them through it. I, again, just really, really appreciate this feature whenever I can use it myself. So let's take a look at how to select multiple images at once. This is another thing that I have found super duper useful. So I'm going to go back out of the support center, and I'm going to go to the photo section of my account. And for the tech savvy folks out there, this might be a little bit obvious since it is something that kind of works in multiple ways across many websites, but we do get a ton of questions about this each week in support, so just want to show you guys. Let's say that I go into my portraits portfolio and I need to, let's say, delete a couple items out of that are a little older, for example. What most people would just do is click it, go to photo actions, and delete. And doing that one at a time can be very obnoxious. So what I would recommend is using that command key again. The same one that we use for the command F feature. Again, it will be control if you are on a PC. If you hold that down and click, it will allow you to select multiple, which can speed along your workflow exponentially. And then you can go to photo actions and do whatever you need to do. You can download them, move them, copy them, whatever. So that one's kind of a quick one, but just something I want to mention because I know some people do go one by one, and I cannot imagine working like that. So my last tip for the day is how to use a visitor sign-in warning. I know before someone enters a gallery, there are occasions where I would like to provide some sort of warning that the content in those galleries does contain like nudity or something like that. Like I might have a boudoir portfolio that I want to show off, but you don't really want people to just click on that not knowing what boudoir is in the middle of their workday. You know, that could be really bad. So sometimes you may have content that is just not suitable for everyone in every situation, and you may need to display a 18 and older type of warning or just give some sort of heads up. So what I've seen people do here is use the visitor sign-in feature to have a message appear, kind of giving a warning. So let's take a look at how to do that. Let's say I wanted to do it for this portraits one, and this just contains some boudoir images like I mentioned. What I will want to do is go over to that visitor sign-in feature here, and I'll uncheck the box and set it to display a message. These items are just up to you whether you want to put their contact information in your list and enable a message whenever someone enters. For this sort of thing, you're not going to really be collecting their contact information unless you just really want to, but in my example, I'm not going to need it. And also, since I'm not getting an actual contact, I really don't want a message every time someone enters this, so I'm going to uncheck that. But totally up to you what you want to do there. Now on the visitor messaging area, I will set the page header to display something that just says like, please read this before continuing. So please read this before continuing. And in the message to visitors, I will say something like, the following page contains nudity and graphic images, or it could even be a little bit funny, like, hey, stop here, naked people. So you just want to give some sort of heads up. You can really choose what the message says. And then on the sign-in fields area, normally you would be collecting a name and email address here. But what I would suggest is actually doing an additional question and making that additional question type yes if you want to continue. So then I'll click save. And now let's look at what that looks like. I think I'll still get to see it here. Maybe I'll have to preview it. It's gonna think about it long and hard again. Maybe I'll just go to the preview, save some time. So I'll click save and preview to test it out. Goodness gracious. Well, anyway, normally it would pop up and say like, hey, like whatever message you put, and they would have to actually type yes and click the continue button before going forward. I really wish I could show this to you. Maybe. Okay, well anyway, that's how to use the feature. You may want to check it out on your own just to check out what it'll actually look like. But that is exactly how I would set that up if I were in that situation. So that is pretty much it, guys. If you have your own tips and tricks, feel free to throw those out in the comments. I'd love to hear what you've come up with in your own workflow that's been helpful too. So if you think it might be useful for others, I'd be happy to walk through some stuff on here too. So let's take a look at the chat now and see where we're at. I am missing a lot. Oh, Lynn, you are from Charlotte. I am actually from Raleigh, so that is funny. Yeah, Cheryl said we're also in North Carolina. That's great. 24/7 Media Group said, yeah, no audio. I have had to cut my audio at the very beginning of the video because of this laggy issue. So I apologize. I know it's a little boring. But thank you for bearing with us. And Adam Hudson says he is from Walla Walla, Washington. Nice. Let's see. Adam says, oh my god, the latest photo poster your company printed out for me looks 100 times better than my last company's prints. I am so happy to have switched to you guys. That is really great to hear, Adam. I love feedback like that. You know, I don't know what lab you were using, but honestly, all of our labs are truly incredible at what they do. Anytime an issue does happen, they are great about fixing it, but it is so rare, I've got to tell you. So I'm really glad you were happy with that. Lynn did have a question, it looked like. Where do you go to edit the default email that gets sent out when I approve an order? So let's take a look at that. If you go to the communications area and go to email communications, it's going to be in that templates area that we were looking at before. If it wants to load, we're going to struggle through it today, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so there should be an order confirmation one that you can click customize on. And I should note, there is certain text that we do have to send as a company just to make sure all the important information is there. So whatever you put here is actually going to be added in addition to that. So what I would suggest is testing this out for sure before you actually start sending this to customers. Maybe just place your own test order with a coupon that just discounts it all the way down to 0%. And then you won't have any service fees or anything like that, so you can test it and see exactly what that email will look like when it comes to you. But that'll be where you add in a little bit of information, and you can even edit the salutation for all order emails as well. So I hope that's helpful. I've had to play around with mine myself a little bit too. All right. Roxanne, where'd you go? There we are. Says, hello from Port Hope, Ontario. I forgot you were in Canada, Roxanne. That's awesome to have, you know, multi-countries all on one stream today. And let's see. All right. I think we're pretty much through the chat now. So if you do have any additional questions, please feel free to throw that out. I know it is a little bit choppy and slow today, and I really apologize, but I hope we can get through this together. So I'm going to take an email question, I guess, if we're all caught up here. Let me see what I've got. Oh, someone in the live stream last week did ask if this would be recorded to view later, this live stream. So it will, and I just wanted to point out that you can find that by going to youtube.com/Zenfolio. And if you scroll down just a little bit, there is a playlist full. So you can check that out and be good to go. Now guys, I'm going to have to take 1 minute. It looks like we are having some issues and lost the feed, so I'm just going to take 1 minute to try to get that fixed. Thanks for bearing with me. Hi guys, I hope this is working now. Cheryl's kind of PMing me, so I'm going to stay in touch with her and hopefully keep this going. So fingers crossed. We are having some serious internet issues today though. So thank you very much again for bearing with us. But what I was just mentioning is that you can go to youtube.com/Zenfolio Live to view the recorded version of this, which will hopefully be running a little more smoothly than this is right now. So just let me know. I really hope it'll start working again. And I think, let's see, we do have some people in the chat talking about baseball and football. Cheryl's funny. Yeah, I'm glad we're back up, so no need for the small talk, guys. Alright. Someone also asked in the live stream last week if with the green screen feature that we were talking about, if we had the ability to resize backgrounds per gallery, and would you be able to upload different size backgrounds of the same image? So there is an ability to resize per gallery. I'm afraid you would just have to kind of upload the exact size you wanted to use, and just have that photo go directly over top of it, and it will usually work best if they are the exact same image size. So just something to note. And we did have one other question from the live stream last week. We had a ton of questions. This person said, can you add a Lightbox 20% or other incentive coupon for their email address for anyone who visits my homepage site? Can this be placed over the page? So it sounds like this person is referring to a welcome message pop-up sort of thing where they would enter their email address to subscribe to something. And that can be done in the customized website view. I don't have a code myself today, but we can look at the various places you can put that. The very best place I would say to put a code like that is actually going to be in your welcome message, which you can go to options to view. You'll want to make sure on the page elements tab that your welcome message is set to show, and then go to the welcome message tab. So I just have some random text in here, and I can go to source, come down just a little bit, and then paste in the code there. Hit source again, and then apply. And then from there, as long as that welcome message is showing, it should pop up. I recommend doing it in the welcome message rather than the header or the footer, because the header and footer can show on other pages, but the welcome message is specific to the home page. And if you have that in your header, it probably would pop up over and over and over again for anyone going through your site, which would be incredibly obnoxious. So definitely don't want to do it that way, in my opinion, unless you like being obnoxious. I mean, you do you. But you could, in theory, also put it in the footer and just have the footer show up on your home page, and that's it. But you would have to be very careful to make sure that footer is not showing on any other pages on your site. But if you were interested in doing that instead, you can add custom content to your footer. I think as long as you're not at the starter plan level. You would have to be at the pro or advanced plan level for this. And in that content area, you can go to embed or source and embed it there. So exact same thing, just a different area. But that is what I would recommend doing. Zenfolio doesn't offer that welcome message pop-up code ourselves, so you would need to find that from an external source. I know MailChimp is a really popular one. They might just be someone to check out, but any third party can give you a code to embed into your website, and that would be where to do it. Alright, so let's take a look here. I think we're good on chat, so I'm going to take another email question. This person says, am I charged a service fee even if there is no profit on the order? So it kind of depends. If you're selling at base lab prices, there will be no service fee, because we don't want to like hit you with that if they're just ordering at, you know, base lab wholesale prices. If you were intentionally offering that to them, then no service fee. If the selling cost is also $0, the service fee is a percentage of the selling price, so it would just be 0% and you'd be good to go. So Should be good that way too. But if you do even charge a cent, unfortunately that service fee will be charged. It will just be a percentage, but it will be there. So what I usually recommend, instead of offering like a gift certificate to like mark something down for someone, do a coupon and mark it down to, if you're trying to do it for free, to $0 for your selling price. Maybe even make a price list that is specific to just them. So yeah, I would check that out. It looks like we do have another chat question. I might have missed it. Let me see here. So I'm thinking maybe during all the choppiness, my answer to, I think it was Lynn's question about editing the default email that gets sent out when you approve an order might have been missed. So just to go back and review that super quick one more time, because I know you want your question answered live, Lynn. You would want to do that back in the under communications. You would go to email communications, the templates tab, and then do that on the order confirmation one. Just click customize. It will add it on to the order confirmation email that we ship. It will just add some additional text there. So just want to make sure you saw that. If you want more details about exactly how it works, just go back and watch the recording after this too. All right. So looks like Charles asked, wow, will Zenfolio help us with the custom code? Unfortunately, we cannot troubleshoot custom code. Some of us here are a little bit well versed in it, but for the most part, just learning coding on top of Zenfolio is quite a task. So we don't ask that anyone do that here. But that said, we can definitely help you place it in the correct place in your account and try to help you embed it in the right area, get it working for you. But the code itself, you would want to contact any third party you got that from just to make sure it was working for you correctly. So I hope that helps. All right. And let's take another email question. What is the best size to resize my images to for display on the web? So this is actually a really good question. Zenfolio will actually resize them for you. So we try to make your life as easy as possible because, you know, we're photographers too and we understand. If we go back to the photo section of the account, I can show you this super duper quick. Basically, when you upload your images, Zenfolio is going to create some display sizes for your website. So I think the largest one is 1550 by 960 pixels, and it is the extra large size. That's just going to be the one we use for like full screen images, and it will go all the way down to I think like 400 by 400, like a smaller size, for little like gridded thumbnail type things. There we go. Okay, running a little slow. But if I click on one of my galleries here, over on the right I can go to Gallery Access and the Photo Protection tab. And it will show you all of those sizes, and you can choose the largest one that will be displayed on your site. Personally, I do recommend uploading the largest image that you have available, just quality-wise if someone chooses to order it. But do rest assured, you know, we will always resize those down a little bit for web quality. It'll still look super nice. It's just going to allow your site to load more quickly in general. So it can be super helpful that Zenfolio just kind of does this on the back end for you. That said, if you did want to upload a smaller quality and replace it in the order later, that is an option at the advanced account level. I would recommend just uploading right at 1550 by 960 or as close to it as you can. If you go under that, I really would just go down to the extra large size or whatever size is going to be appropriate for whatever you're uploading. Because when you upload a little smaller and it gets a little blown up, it can get a little pixelated and does not always look nice. So that would be my recommendation. So let's see here. Looks like we do have some chat going on. 24/7 Media Group said, you said last week that we could go deeper into blogs. Is there a way to make a template to be able to drop and go? So there are not blog templates necessarily, but something I do just in my own general workflow with my blog is I just kind of keep everything saved in an Evernote on my computer. I've seen people do it in Word documents too. Just kind of like the basic format, I guess. And they'll just like copy and paste it. Once you have it in one, you can just copy and paste it from the blog a couple more times and just fill it in with new photos and new text. But I do this because I use a lot of tables in my blog, just like my custom pages, and I never want to lose those. So I do have them saved somewhere where I can just quickly like add that code back in. So I can show you real quick. Let's open up the blog. Let me move my head. Okay, so I'm going to start a new post here. And there is this table feature. Let's just say that I needed something pretty big and expansive. That table, I can add any sort of text to it, any sort of images, and I can grab it out of the source code here and save that somewhere so that I mean, you can always come back in and like redo it, but if you have like images and text in here that you know you'll need to use on multiple blogs, you can just save that custom code, and then next time you come in, you can come into the source and paste it, and it'll be right there for you. So it's just one tip, but there isn't really a way to save a template necessarily. I guess one thing you could do is save it as a draft. Let me see. I think you would just click save here after you had everything configured. You wouldn't actually publish it, and it would stay in your account, so I guess you could use that like a template. That's not what most people do, but it is totally possible to use it that way. So I hope that helps a little bit. 24/7 Media Group. Don't know your name. All right. And Charles was saying, dang, I was hoping Zenfolio had a couple codemasters around. We definitely do have some people who have built their website almost from scratch with coding. And I'm sure they'd be able to recommend some sites to you. But yeah, unfortunately, custom coding can be a bit complicated. So we just try to stick really to supporting you guys as much as we can. But coding is kind of crazy for us. So Charles also said, blogs let you custom code too, I believe. Could you copy the source code and save that as a template? Yes, exactly. So yeah, what I would do is probably just save the source code or save it as a draft and just come back to it. So whatever works. Oh, Mark, nice. Good to know. We have a coworker here named Mark. That's awesome. I will remember that. All right. So let's take another email question. This one says, how can I let my assistant upload photos to my Zenfolio account without letting him accidentally mess up other things? So, I personally in my own life do not use this feature, but I know tons of photographers on Zenfolio who do. My business isn't really big enough for this, so it's awesome if you do need this feature. But what I would recommend is being at the advanced account level. Or if you have the older premium business account, that's fine too. Either one will allow you to use this feature. But you can actually create, it's kind of like sub accounts, I guess, with different roles attached to it. So if you go to settings and then, I think it's account. Let's not save the blog. And whenever this loads, you would want to go to manage users. And this is the area where you would actually create that account for them, essentially. And when you do that, you're going to assign what roles they're allowed to take on your Zenfolio account. So that might be, you just want them to have access to just one gallery in particular. You might want them to be able to do everything you do for the most part. All of those roles are explained here in detail, so you'll want to read through those and make sure you're choosing the right one. Because even if they are your assistant, you know, some of those roles you may not want them to have, or you may want them to have more roles, or abilities, I guess, in the account. But you would basically just create the account for them, enter their full name, email, and username, and they will get an email just asking to approve it, and when they do, they will officially have a Zenfolio account they can sign into, but some of their access will be limited, basically. So that can be super helpful. And if you do need to limit what galleries certain people have access to, you can do that in the edit ownership area. So just for example, if I wanted to make my homepage one, have a new account owner, I could come down here and select that user from the list. So super awesome feature to have, especially if you have a big business with tons of people who might need to access the account. I will say that if you and one other person just need access to it and you're at like the pro or premium level, you can totally log into the same exact account. I hope you guys can't hear that. There is mowing going on outside. I'm so sorry. But basically, with this, two people can be logged in at the same time. I think the only reason I wouldn't recommend that is if you are doing customization on your website, because then things can get a little bit back and forth crazy. Wow, that's really loud. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could control this sort of thing. Well, let's look at another email question and keep moving on. Or maybe we have some chats. Yes, we do. Let's go back. Sally says, is there a way to embed the blog feed in our custom pages? So I personally am not sure of a way to do that. I'm positive there's some way to do it with custom code, but that's not something I know how to do. I know that if needed, you can get your blog's RSS feed, I think it's called. We can go to the blog itself. Let me pull that up here. There's a little button you can use. It's kind of like a subscribe button. Let me go to preview and configure. And in that, anyone can click that RSS button and it kind of gives you like a little mini feed, I think. I'm sure you could use something like some sort of custom code with that RSS feed. I'm just not sure how that would work. So if you want though, you're welcome to check out this RSS feature and see if it might work and maybe do some Googling. And you're welcome to email our support team who might have more information about this than I do. Our support team is just support@zenfolio.com. So they might be able to help you a little bit further, Sally. I'm sorry. But that RSS button is down here. You can click it and it's going to take you to a really weird looking of your blog. That is not necessarily what they would be shown. Like, it won't have all this crazy mess at the top, but it's just one way to, I guess, hopefully use that and link it in your custom page. But that said too, the blog page itself can be kind of used more like a landing page than like just this big humongous like thing with mini blog post on it. So if you go to layout in the upper left corner of your blog in customize website view, some of them that just say single column, right sidebar, and left sidebar, they will just scroll forever and ever through your blog. But these do have kind of like a landing page, so that could possibly eliminate the need for a custom page. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but just wanted to mention that too. Alright. So, Love Photography Fine Art Images channel. They ask, can YouTube videos be synced to the website? I don't think you can sync a YouTube channel. Again, this would just be some sort of custom code. But you can embed YouTube videos for sure. So let's just say I wanted to do that on my home page. I'll go back there. Actually, I'll go here. And let's say I wanted to put one in my welcome message. Again, I would just set that to show, go to welcome message, and this source code here. If you have that code ready to go, then you're good to go. I know YouTube does have a embed functionality kind of below some of the videos where you can grab an actual embed code. You can paste that right there and it should work just fine. On my own personal website, I have embedded Vimeo as well, and that's just because some of my videos are longer than what Zenfolio will allow for. So you could totally make a custom page and embed your own videos in there too, whatever you need to do. But let me know if I can elaborate on that a little bit more. It just really depends on your own needs, I guess, so I'd be happy to answer some questions a little bit further. Alright, so Charles said, yep, something about the RSS feed. I don't know what that is going to do, but I really hope that'll help. That would require some Googling on my end too, so I hope that helps. Mark said, that will allow them to download at any time, question mark. Let's see, were we talking about... I'm not sure what that was in reference to, Mark. Please let me know so I can answer your question, though. Yeah, you guys are hearing my mowers at my apartment. That's great. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, it is springtime in North Carolina, so Cheryl's absolutely right. All right, so let's get on to another email question here. This user said, I send the client proofing video to my new clients. Is there a way I can make a client info page rather than email the link to that video? So yeah, absolutely. You can create a custom page and even embed that video on it if you want to. Whatever you really need to do, you can put anything on a custom page. And just use the, I guess the last year in the drop-down menu is what this says. So let me see here. Is there a way I can make a client info page? So what I would honestly do is just go to the dashboard. Let me move myself out of the way. In the dashboard, you can go to a custom page. Just for those of you who don't know, it's a completely blank page for you to do whatever you want to with. You can go to website and custom pages. And from here, you would just click new, and you will have a completely blank page to work with. Eventually. There we go. So, yes, and you could use the source code or embed button to add video, whatever you need to do. You can add any sort of information to this. On my own pages, I'll link to like a big PDF and like kind of add like a cute image on it. You can do tables and have some information like really well broken down. Just really depends on what you need. So let's see here. Let me open chat back up. Okay. Okay, I'm glad I answered your question. Love photography. Let me know if you have any others. And Mark says dual access. Okay, so where were we? What was that question? Did I totally miss it? Hold on. Well, that allowed them to download it anytime. So I guess it depends on the role. Some users won't even be able to download any images, but with dual access, they should be able, for some of the account levels, to download back any images off of the account. They'll also be able to upload in some cases. So yes, like Cheryl said, they would have access if you provided it to them to do that. So it just kind of depends. Charles said jinx. We have been going back and forth. You are very well versed in Zenfolio. Maybe you can host a live stream one day. All right. So I have another email question here. This one says, I have set up a pre-order link and so far have had several customers let me know that they have pre-ordered, but I don't see this information anywhere in my account. Can you tell me where to find it? So first and foremost, let me get Cheryl to throw out the pre-order support guide article that we have. This is a feature that's only available at the advanced account level, but it's honestly one that might be worth upgrading for depending on your workflow. So definitely take a look at it, but don't want to jump into that too much and really answer that question instead. The place that you can see that is going to be in selling and then reports and payouts. And once you are there, we'll go to the sales report. And then there is a pre-orders tab here. And you can adjust the dates to whatever dates you need. It could be for like an entire year if you needed it. I don't have any here, so it's a little blank right now, but it is there. All right. Take another email question here. This person says, if I want to pull a bunch of images from different portfolio galleries together to use on my homepage, would this be where a collection would be easier to use, or should I just re-upload them all into a gallery? So honestly, collections suck. I really hate them. That's just my personal opinion. I'm really just not a big fan of them. They really complicate things in my opinion. What I really would do is just copy them into a new gallery because there's really no reason to re-upload them. So let's take a look at how to do that in the photo section. But you would basically need to create a group, have your galleries within it. I've kind of done something similar here with my portfolio images. So you would need something very similar set up, and when you link to it in your customized website view, you would link to that portfolio. So again though, if you needed to like really reorganize these, collections really aren't the way to go in my opinion. I would just take the images from other galleries after you created them and move them into there, or copy them into there. And using that fancy command button, we can select multiple at a time, go to photo actions, and then move or copy, whichever one's appropriate. And you could just put them directly into whatever galleries you need. So that's my recommendation. Take it at a grain of salt if you want to, but some other people on the team might have a different opinion, but that's mine. Alright. Let's see. In chat, co-host maybe, but only if there's free food. I like the way you think, Charles. I wish I got free food for doing this. That'd be really nice. All right. And yeah, Cheryl threw out that pre-order support guide article, so be sure to check that out too. All right. So this user says, can I create multiple coupons at once? Is it possible to create a coupon for free shipping after it meets a certain amount, and can I make an option for multiple currencies? So I guess this user is trying to sell globally, in which case you would need to create separate coupons for that, because a coupon can only be in one currency. But let me just show you where to do that real quick. It's going to be under the selling section in coupons and campaigns. We'll go to add a coupon. And when this loads, down in the coupon value area, this is where you would set the coupon for the currency, or the currency for the coupon that you would need to sell in. If this is going to be like one of those general 10% off ones that I offer, it really would be a pain in the butt to have to do it multiple times in all of these. So I would really just pick the ones that you see a lot of visitors coming from. So for me, that might be like just US dollars and Canadian dollars, but for your business, it could be, you know, maybe 6 of these. Really just depends on where you're selling. So, but you can change the currency there, and it is possible to set an order minimum as well. And that's going to be at the very bottom under restrictions in the order minimum area. You can just say like, maybe you want them to spend $40 before. So if I have it set to US dollars, they will have to spend $40 US before continuing. But that will require a little bit of multiple coupon use in order to get that to work right. So I hope that answers that question. And guys, we have about 10-ish minutes left, so be sure to throw out your questions if you do have any lingering ones. It really does not have to relate to tips and tricks, as you have seen. We will talk about anything under the sun. So let's take another email question in the meantime. This person says, what exactly is the yearbook pose feature? I'm not sure if I need it, but I do shoot for schools. So that's a really great question. This is a feature that I think we rolled out last year. It is kind of new. So if you go to the photos section of your account, there is a place where if you're at the advanced account level, you can enable a yearbook pose on your galleries. So let me show you exactly where that is located. Like I might go to my home page one here and open that up. It's going to be at the bottom right. It says yearbook pose and enable for gallery. I would just check that to enable it. And then when I go to preview, the customer will basically use this feature. They will click the little graduation cap icon that will appear over top of the images and choose it as the yearbook pose, quote unquote. So let's say that you are shooting a school and there are maybe 3 poses for each student, and they would need to come in and choose the one that they wanted for the yearbook, or communicate something with you about like, this is going to be the 8x10 in my package, something like that. You can use that yearbook pose feature for them to just pick one image to be used for something. It doesn't even necessarily have to be the yearbook. And once they have done that, there is a yearbook pose area in your organizer. I don't know if I unclicked that, but once someone has clicked something, it would show up here, and you can search by name. I think you can also search by gallery if I'm not mistaken. And let me actually click that again. Just kidding, I would have to invite myself. So, but anyway, this is where you would do that. And it can be super helpful for just kind of communicating that I need this one image for this one thing. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a school feature either. I've seen people just selling packages in general, where they're like, this is the one I want for the 8x10 and a mix of the others for everything else in the package. So it just depends on what you're selling and what you can use the feature for, but in general it is supposed to be used for like a yearbook pose. And looks like Cheryl did put a link to more information about that in the chat. Probably going to be well better explained than what I just gave you, but I hope that helps. And you can see some screenshots there of what to actually do with it in this area too. So I hope that helps. And let's see here. This person says, how can I make it so orders come to me first automatically? So that is a feature that's only available at the advanced plan. So you would want to make sure you're at the advanced plan. Other than that, when an order comes in, you would have to change it at that point. There's no way to set them all to come to you automatically, because in general, sometimes you just don't want that to happen, and having that checked and then all these orders showing up to your doorstep could be very bad. So you would want to change it after an order comes in. I do not have a pending order at this time, unfortunately, to show you guys, but if you have an order that is pending order approval, it will be at the very bottom of the screen. Just say something about like ship to me first. There's a little bullet point. You can choose it and then approve the order, and it will come to you first. If you are doing this, I really recommend, Lynn actually asked earlier about adding a order confirmation, I guess some blurbage to that email that goes out. So I would probably add some sort of blurbage to that, and just say like, hey, like this is actually going to come to me first for approval, and then I'll ship it. If you don't want them to know that, maybe just let them know it probably will take about like 5 to 10 extra days from what they see in their estimate, because that estimate does include it just going straight to them. So it is something to note. All right. So Charles says, thanks Kayla and Cheryl, learned some new tricks today. Awesome. I'm glad that was very helpful. And again, you guys feel free to throw out your own tricks too. Definitely want to take a look at anything you guys are finding helpful in your own workflow too. And Charles agrees that collections are a big mess, so that's great. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I never use them in my own account. I think it's a useful feature for some people. Like, I'm glad it is there, I guess. But just for me personally, it really does make things a little more complicated than it needs to be. All right. We have a couple more email questions I can take here if everyone's good. This one says, are there any guides available for me to send to my customers, specifically on how to create photo books? Yes, we went over this earlier in the support center at the very bottom of your page. It might be blocked here. Let me move myself. There's a support center link here. If you type for visitors into that box, it will show you a ton of articles that can be sent directly to your visitors, one of which is a photo book one, so that can be helpful. This one says, I signed up today. Where should I start first? We do get that question a lot in support because people just like land on this dashboard and they have no idea where to begin. So if you're even someone that's just a little bit newer, I would recommend going to the support center, just like I showed you before. The link is down here. There is a getting started guide there. And I can get Cheryl to throw out that link to the Getting Started guide, but you can always find it in the support center too if you're viewing this later. That Getting Started guide will go over everything from uploading your logos, uploading photos, customizing your website, doing your blog, just kind of the basics, I guess, for truly getting started. It's not going to go into anything super in depth. I don't know. It really does cover the basics very, very well. And I have found that it can really help people get their site set up in less than a day. So just following those steps, accomplishing the basics can help you along so well. And it looks like we did have in chat, Mark was asking, Did multi-export on pics with watermarks get added yet? Multi-export on pics. So no, because that is in let me use my brain. I think for what Mark is referring to is a feature where you can save images with the watermark on them at those display sizes that we were talking about earlier. And I can show you guys that real quick. But I believe at this time it is something that can only be done one image at a time. So let me just open this like it's a gallery. You can allow those smaller downloads with your watermark on them in the options for the page. And that is done. I didn't even enter the home page. Let me click on that. That's going to be done in the options on the gallery quick shop page. So on the thumbnails page, it's not an option at this time, but that is a really awesome request, Mark, and I think having that added would be really nice. So if you haven't already requested it, I can get Cheryl to throw out a link to our feature request area. We do have several stuff there. It does get looked at several times a year. So anything that has a ton of votes on it or just seems like something we could add pretty easily, we will generally add at some point. So I would recommend going there if I can get Cheryl to throw out that link. But for those of you who aren't aware of the feature, I am in the home page on the galleries area, but I will need to be on the quick shop area. And when that loads, I will just go to the options at the top of the page. There we go. So I'll go to options and go to the quick shop area. And if you turn downloads to show here, it will only show on this page, the quick shop one, and it will only allow them to download the smaller sizes if you have downloading turned off in other areas. So let's see. Just gonna think about it. If you do have downloading allowed in general, the original download will show, but this little button will appear and they can choose the smaller sizes. I don't have a watermark on these, but if I did, that watermark would be included. So pretty nice feature. But like Mark said, it does have to be done one at a time. And I see that he said he did request that a couple months ago. So I do hope that can be added in the future, Mark. I can see where that would be super helpful. All right, let's go back to the dashboard. All right, I think I have time for one more question. This one says, about how long does it take for an order to arrive to a customer? How can I give them an estimate without having to contact you guys every time? So that's a really good question. What I would recommend doing is first and foremost checking out our YouTube video on this topic. I can get Cheryl to send that out, which would be awesome. And other than that, you can go into the selling section of the account and go to products from integrated vendors. If you are selling, like let's say the order comes in and it's for MPix, I would click on MPix to get more information about their shipping and processing. It will be a combination of how long it takes to process the item and then the shipping option that they chose. So if they just ordered prints, it can take 1 to 2 business days. Generally, I would give them an estimate that's longer, and then they'll just be happy if it shows up earlier. I would not lean toward the short side of that. So let's say they just ordered prints, that's 2 business days. Then I can go down to the shipping to learn more about their shipping options. And let's say this person chose standard shipping. That's going to be 4 to 8 business days. So at the very longest, it should take 10 business days, 8 plus 2, and then it should arrive to them. The only thing that can affect that is holidays. I would just immediately add on an additional business day for any holiday that's coming up. And if it's around Christmas time, these estimates do stay pretty true, honestly. I wouldn't necessarily just automatically change the estimate for that. But just to be safe, I would let them know, hey, it is Christmas time. If you do not see your package within this time, let me know so I can get a new one sent to you. And generally, MPix, I know, is super awesome about that if things get lost in the mail, which tends to happen when everyone is ordering everything online. So that would be my recommendation. All right, guys, I think, let's see. I think we're good in chat too. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We are about done here. If you do have any lingering questions, please feel free to throw them out to us at support@zenfolio.com. You might even get it answered by me, who knows? And our teammates are available on live chat right now as well, and we do have phone support going right now if you're at the advanced account level. So feel free to contact us however you need. We want to get all of your questions answered. And until next time, you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.